Howdy y'all, Christi here with Little Salty Homesteader. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am back today a little bit late in the month, but I wanted to get out the 2024 December North Texas garden checklist. I am in Collin County, so this should apply to most counties and cities along North Texas. I do know that one of my friends down close to Houston, his checklist for each month is relatively close to mine. So even if you're not really in North Texas, if you're in Texas adjacent, this should work relatively well for you. But let's go ahead and get started. All right, December in North Texas is basically the month of preparation. You're going to start preparing for your spring and summer garden for next year. I know that seems really weird, especially because you're also going to be preparing for the incredibly cold weather that often comes in January and or February. So for your spring garden preparation, you want to go ahead and continue ordering seed catalogs. Most companies offer free versions. Some companies only have online available, but you can download like a PDF or something and then just kind of scroll through on your phone or device, or you can get paper copies from tons of other companies. I'm starting to get several in the mail now, and you're going to then use those catalogs that you're getting in the mail to sort of create your seed list of things that you need to purchase. Now, if you're first starting out gardening, it can be really overwhelming, and you can also kind of get FOMO, where you feel like you want to grow all the things and you kind of overbuy seeds, and then you don't really have the space to plant them. So what I like to do whenever I'm creating my list is I will go through my inventory of stuff that I already have and sort of look back on the stuff that has grown well for me and the stuff that hasn't, and I try to avoid seeds that are close to the stuff that isn't growing so well for me. So like those really big beefsteak tomatoes don't do well for me, so I'm really trying not to get more of those seeds, and I'm kind of slowly trading them away to get the stuff that does do well here. What does do really well here is cherry tomatoes, and then some varieties that were bred right here in Texas, like the Porter tomato. So I'm gonna focus a lot of my wants and desires around what I already know does really well here. And that really helps narrow down whenever I'm filtering through. Hey, that beefsteak tomato, not gonna do well. I'm not even gonna put that on my list. But things like zinnias and marigolds and nasturtiums, all of those do great here. So if you have a mile-long list of zinnias, that's quite all right. They're gonna grow fine here. The other thing that you want to do is, once you have that list kind of generated, filtered down, put into like a budget-friendly, manageable list, go ahead and order them before the spring seed rush, because you don't want to wait too long and then the one that you're really wanting sells out. It happens every year. I keep, putting off something, and then I go to get it and it's gone and I can't find it. So anyway, purchase those as soon as you're able to, as soon as that list is filtered down and ready. The other thing that you're going to want to do is reorganize your seed collection as needed. You're going to throw away empty, spent packets. You're going to take inventory of what you have. I keep like a Google Sheets document with all of my seeds so that I can kind of look through and see what I need and what I don't need. And then you're gonna want to store your seeds. Now I use 3-ring binders with photo sheet sleeve things. That works really great for me because I need to see all my packets easy and quickly, because otherwise I forget that I own it and then I end up with duplicates. But there's a ton of different ways that you can store your seeds. That's just how I do it. Now, for maintenance tasks, you are going to want to trim any frost damage that you may have incurred on your perennial plants, but you want to make sure you leave spent flower heads around for the birds to be able to come forage and get food. You want to water your plants during drought periods. Now, currently, we just had 3.5-ish inches of rain over the weekend, so I don't need to water for like a week probably, unless we get more rain. And then, you do have to water less in the winter than you do in the summer because it's not hot. But if it's not raining regularly, you do still want to make sure that your plants are getting water. You also want to If you already have frost cloths, make sure they don't have major holes in them or rips or tears. Get rid of anything that is damaged and then procure new ones. Otherwise, if you don't have any, you want to go ahead and get enough to cover all of your garden spaces from where plants that need to be protected from those super cold temperatures. So planting tasks, there are a few things that can be planted in December. If you have any trees or shrubs, you can continue planting those this month. If you have any cool season annuals like pansies and violas, those can go into your garden space. If you have your pre-chilled tulips and hyacinths, those can also be planted in the month of December. Usually around between Christmas and New Year's Eve is the time frame for that, from what I was reading before. I only attempted to grow tulips once and it didn't go well. From my understanding, Texas isn't the greatest place for them, so I just haven't continued to try to grow them more. They're a little bit expensive for such a high risk, so I just don't really mess with them. You can also transplant those hardy leafy greens like collard greens, mustard greens, Swiss chard, and spinach. And then my seedtime.us account has me starting onion seeds this month, which is good because onion seeds I started in November, I accidentally killed, so I get to start over, so that's great. Those will be transplanted out in January as little onion sets, and my plan for them is to literally just plant them all over. They make pretty good companion plants for most plants. Now, back to the spring garden planning. Sometimes whenever you are creating that seed list of the seeds that you want to buy, it's a little bit more helpful if you go ahead and figure out what you want to grow in your spring and summer garden in the upcoming year. So if you really love growing tomatoes, that's your most favorite thing, you don't really care so much about the rest, and then maybe you focus your seed buying list on mostly tomato varieties. Kind of helps narrow it down, saves you a few dollars because you're not, you know, just willy-nilly buying, which I have been guilty of course. Create that generic list of crops that you intend to grow. Just tomatoes, peppers, okra, you know, just that basic. You don't have to put in the specific varieties just yet, because for the most part, all tomato types are going to be started right around the same time anyway. So just knowing, hey, I'm going to be planting tomatoes, will give you an idea to be able to start creating your planting schedule. Now, you're going to create your planting schedule. It's a good idea to go ahead and start just in December because things change, plans change. You may walk around your garden and decide, you know, I really don't have the space to be able to grow watermelon or whatever. By starting early in December, then that gives you time to edit and finalize and, you know, get something set in stone so that you start off 2025 with a bang and you're ready to hit the garden running. So once you have that generic crop list, you will kind of create your planting schedule, and the way that that is created is by looking up your last estimated frost date. I know that it seems really confusing that it's the last estimated frost date because it's early in the year, but it's kind of backwards in like the garden world for that, because your first frost date happens in the fall and your last frost date happens in the spring. So you will Google that based on your zip code and it will give you an estimated date. Now keep in mind, your last frost date could be before that date, but it could be after that date. So whenever you create your schedule, you need to keep in mind that you might have to keep your baby plants indoors a little while longer before you transplant them out. But it's still a good idea to have that schedule ready so that you know when you're going to be starting seeds, when you should be uppotting seeds, when you can start watching the weather to see when that last frost is actually going to happen, and whenever you can get them transplanted out into the garden. So if you have started a garden from seed before, you may have your previous schedule from last year or the year before, and you can use that as a great reference point. Now, if there were things that you noticed from that previous garden schedule, like, oh man, I started these tomatoes way too early, or I wish I would have started these peppers a little bit earlier, then you can adjust your new schedule to kind of accommodate what you figured out with the previous ones. If you have not planted anything from seed before, and this is your first year doing so, an application called seedtime.us really takes all the guesswork out of it for you. It's going to give you the day that you start your seeds, or the time frame. It gives you about 7 days. The time range that you want to start your seeds, when you want to transplant your seeds, when you can expect to start harvesting your plants, all of those different dates that kind of fall under all of the umbrellas as far as like preparing your growing spaces and fertilizing and all of that. It is a really, really useful tool. I use it now simply because it saves me so much time. Rather than me sitting down and writing everything out and doing the math and counting back 6 weeks or counting back 8 weeks, it just does it all in minutes for me. I just select tomatoes and then I select Roma and then boom, it does the math. I don't have to worry. I have a link down below. Seed Time is free. There are paid versions. You don't have to do the paid version. The free version gives you a lot of features that are really useful, whether you're a new, novice, intermediate, advanced gardener. It's fantastic. This will be my 3rd season using it, I think, and I have enjoyed it immensely. Now, the last thing that you're going to want to do to start garden planning for your spring garden is you're going to want to gather your seed starting supplies and clean and sanitize as needed. Now, some of my seed starting supplies are entering their 5th year. I've had them for a minute and they're still holding up really great, while some of my other ones are only on their 2nd or 3rd year and they're really brittle and kind of falling apart. So whenever I gather them all together, I will get rid of the stuff that isn't doing so well, and then the stuff that is still in great shape, I'm just going to wash it and then sanitize it and then let it dry and it'll be ready to plant. Now, the way that I wash them is I use like a big plastic tote and I fill it with Dawn dish soap and then just water hose water, and I soak them all in there and then I rinse it all off, and then I use that same tote with just a little bit of bleach to sanitize and fill it up with water, let them soak for a little bit, rinse them off, and then I'm good to go. The whole process probably takes me about 2.5 hours, and I have a ton of seed starting supplies. So I have several different types of trays and things. I'm going to show you guys all of that in a future video, kind of breaking down what I use for seed starting, all the way down to the soil and such. That way, if this is your first year starting from seed, you can kind of know what to look for and what supplies might work for you. But yes, again, December is basically the month of preparation. That is all the tasks that I have for you today for December. I am behind on things. I still need to do November cleanup because you can see here I have peppers that have gone to the wayside. But as you may imagine by my absence the last few weeks, I've been a little bit busy. So I'm behind in the garden, I'm behind in the house, I'm behind at work, I'm just behind. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. Until next time, go find a way to get those garden manicures. Bye!